Good morning and welcome to Church of Works in our new series, The Wednesday Word. It occurred to me some time back that people did not have a good grasp on the nomenclature of their own religion, of Christianity. But I've found it also in other areas, medicine, law, and even life in general. So that's why I wanted to start the Wednesday Word so we can begin to review some of those words and find out what they actually mean. And by that, better understand not only our sacred scriptures, but life in general. So with that, we're going to begin our series with the word worship. Now, I was brought up in Christian churches absolutely rife with misunderstandings and lack of true knowledge, which led me to walk away from a very early age. I knew there was some truth, but it wasn't in these churches, so I set off on my own to try to find what I knew to be true. And all these years later, the search continues. I have found much truth along the way, but I've also seen what I truly thought to be true turn out only to be slightly true or understood in the face of new and deeper knowledge. So I give you some of what I've learned already, knowing that deeper and deeper understandings are still to come. Very early on, one of the principles I had issue with was the issue of worship. I knew that people in the churches didn't have a good grasp or understanding of what worship was or how to do it. Eventually, I simply looked up the meaning of the word, and boy, was I blown away. I had it right all along. Worship was not some groveling praise by the lowly, or a time to sit and decry one's true faith to the big man in the sky, or even giving credit to God. No, worship was much different and much more in line with my thinking. So what then is worship, and who is to be worshipped? The definition of worship is reverent honor and homage paid to God or a sacred personage. Let me give that to you again. Worship is reverent honor and homage paid to God or a sacred personage. Now, if this definition is true, and it is, then shouldn't I worship you? Are you not a sacred being made in God's image? My brother that I'm to love as I love myself? And should you not worship me, a child of God made in his image? Shouldn't we all bestow reverent honor on each other? The whole idea was so huge, yet so simple, so profound, yet so incredibly humbling that it broke me down into tears. And I knew that this was a message that had to be shared. When I saw this definition, a whole new universe of understanding opened up even to me, and I better understood how I am to live and love in the way of truth, in the way of Christ. I suppose it's very much the same, if not the exact same thing as expressed in the expression namaste, which means the Christ in me salutes the Christ in you. Is that not worship? Can we not then just say, I worship you? Well, we could if people understood the term and the meaning behind our expression of it. If we all understood and practiced the true principle of worship, the world would be a much better place. For me, it was the simple act of humbling myself and really acknowledging to another person how divinely special they are. Is that not a Christian act? Well, that may depend on if you have a grasp on what Christianity is. If you believe that being a Christian means being a follower of Christ, then we may have lost you already. If, on the other hand, you believe being a Christian means being Christ-like, and if trying to walk in the shoes or the way of Christ, then you may clearly see how Christian an act worshiping each other is, as Christ worshiped every single one of his followers, and even further, every single person he ever encountered. So this is my encouragement to you to live in the way of Christ, to live with inner wisdom and peace, and live worshiping in all things. Living a worshipful life is like living a grateful life in that you are acknowledging, giving gratitude for, and humbling yourself to others. It is very purposeful. It's done with intention, and it speaks volumes about who you are. It's really one step beyond gratitude in that it also includes humility and reverent honor. So let's look at these words. What is homage? Homage is acknowledgement of worth, special honor shown in public. Honor is respect, privilege of being associated with. So, homage is acknowledgement and honor is respect. Reverent is awesome. Reverent means awesome. And humility is understanding one's place in context. See, that's the important one where people get freaked out. Christians get really freaked out because they don't include or understand humility even when somebody else is practicing it. So when we have acknowledgement, respect of how awesome somebody is being a divine creation of God, and understanding our place in context. So we have awesome respect, acknowledging worth, while understanding one's place in context or connection. Why should we not worship nature then? The sun, the animals, and each other. We can clearly see from the above that true worship of each other or nature could never, by its own definition, place ourselves above God or divine creator if we understand our place in context. Now the vain, the prideful, the arrogant will not be able to truly experience this exercise, and unfortunately, they rob themselves of the extraordinary joy and understanding. To live in a true state of worshipfulness means to live in the infinite possibility of love and oneness, to open oneself up to the unique experiences of boundless understanding and endless connection. So how can we pay awesome respect to someone? Well, we can tell them, for starters. I'll never forget a bonding moment with my sister when she and I were on the phone in an emotional, spiritual conversation when I asked her, "What is worship?" She hesitated, and I read her the definition: reverent honor and homage paid to God or a sacred personage. And then I asked her, if we're made in the image of God, then are we not sacred? Yes, she said. Didn't God say, "What you have done for the least of them, you have done for me"? I asked. Yes, she replied. Shouldn't I then worship you? I asked. After a slight hesitation, she admitted, yes. And shouldn't you also worship me, sister? I asked. Yes, she answered. And we both just cried and repeated to each other that we worshiped each other. I felt so humbled and connected in that moment. There are many, many ways to worship someone, really. The ways we can worship each other are as infinite and unique as each one of us is. It's about honor and respect, and that can be shown in a myriad of ways. One really empowering way to worship someone is just to grant them beingness. This is one I had problems with understanding for years. And it really just boils down to letting someone have their own truth, even if it seems wrong to you. The amazing thing about doing this is that it somehow gives that person enough space to change their perspective and therefore change their opinion. And often they do. When you grant someone beingness, you allow them to have their own thoughts and feelings without making them wrong. In this one act alone, one person can profoundly impact another. Beingness is godliness. Allowing someone to be without judgment is a very valuable gift, for it's so incredibly rare today. Judgment says, you are wrong and I am right. Discernment says, he does not yet see as I do. The difference is night and day. If worship were truly practiced among the Christian religion, the world would be a much better place. So let's go out into the world with a worshipful spirit and a worshipful heart and watch the world change right in front of our eyes, shall we? So I want to thank you for joining us for the Wednesday Word, and I hope you'll join me again for our Sabbath services, where we'll be making some important announcements. We're going to update everybody on projects that have been going on over here, what those are, and we're going to be having some raffles to pay for some of those projects and have some awesome prizes. So I hope you'll tune in and find out all about that. I'm sure that we'll have some prizes that you guys will be interested in and that you would want to get in on the raffles. And we would just love to update you on the projects that are going on over here. So please join us for that. And remember that Church of Works is here to do exactly what the Bible tells us to do, which is spread the word and heal the sick. And so if your church doesn't have a council of elders that is set up to teach you how to use God's medicines to heal your body and to teach you, as the Bible says, it's up for the older generations to teach the younger. So if you don't have programs and systems set up like that in the church that you attend, maybe you need to ask yourself why. And maybe you need to ask your church why. So anyway, that's why we're here. We want to spread the word and heal the sick. I hope that you'll watch some of our other videos, our series, God's Medicine. And I hope that those help you. Feel free to contact us at any time if you need any further help or assistance, and I'd be glad to help you. So thanks for joining us today, and I hope to see you again real soon. Love you all.